Hi everybody, it's Gina from Euphoria Soapworks, or Euphoria Bath and Soapery, as we're still in the process of changing our name. Anyway, I just wanted to do a quick video of how to make cold process embeds. So I'll show you a little sample here of some that I've made. And I have a little recipe, and I will show that to you at the end of the video. But right now I'm just going to mix I have, this is 100% organic coconut oil that's been melted down, and my lye water solution. And I chose just coconut oil because it's a hard oil and it's white, and so it's ideal for me to make embeds because it doesn't, confer its own color. But you can use any hard oil, cocoa butter or palm oil or whatever you want, and it should probably turn out just fine. I haven't experimented with that yet, but anyway, here we're going to go and mix it together. I'm adding my lye water to my oils. And I have a little mini mixer. I love this tool. You can find this at Brambleberry. It's invaluable for me. I love to mix my colorants with it. Any small amounts that you need to mix, this works wonders. So I found yesterday I made a batch of this, and part of my batch set up beautifully, and that was with these pink hibiscus embeds, and part of them set up a little bit slower, which was the flamingos, and the slowest to set up was my leaves here, and they were the first ones I poured. So my guess is that you need to bring this a little bit past emulsion. That way you know that it sets up. It'll still saponify. It'll just take longer if you haven't brought it to a trace. But I found that I had to mix those ones as they sat in their molds, so I don't recommend that. Just go ahead and take the time to bring it to a light trace. And I'm going to pause you while I do that so you don't have to sit here and be bored. Okay, so I'm going to pour a little bit into a cup here, and oh, I probably need a little bit more. And I'm going to get some colorant, and I just mix this right into the soap because I still need to mix the soap anyway, so blends up just beautifully. Add a little titanium dioxide. Just going to lighten that up just a titch. I'm not sure if I want it that light, so I might add a little So the nice thing about mixing right in this cup is that now I'm actually bringing this to a light trace eventually so that when I pour it, it will set up the way I want it to. And I want it to, oh, I forgot to mention, we need a little tiny bit of sodium lactate. So I'll get that and I'll be right back. And because I'm working in such small amounts, I'm just going to add a few drops. You can add it to your whole batter if you want to. I'm just going to add a few drops in here. And that will help it come out hard. So these little guys came out the best. And you can hear that they're nice and hard. So I'm going to let that set up a little bit while I pour my other colorant. Okay, and this one is going to be a neon pink. Which I will add a little bit of titanium dioxide to. I like to mix up my titanium dioxide a little bit at a time because I use titanium dioxide mixed with oil, so I use oil soluble. I prefer that to the water soluble, but either one is totally fine. It's just whatever your preference is. I don't like glycerin rivers at all. I really don't like them. So I prefer to add less water to my recipe, which is why I like the oil soluble. And also, I don't mind a little bit more super fat. Although I try to add as little oil as possible, just enough to get that titanium dioxide blended up. But that's just my preference. Either one is totally fine. You can also use zinc oxide if you prefer, although I find it doesn't give you as white of a white. So, just a personal preference. And then I'll do the green. Actually, let's see. Add a touch more of that. Beautiful. Okay, so let's see how we're doing here. Still pretty thin on all of these. And part of the reason that this is so thin is that I like to soap at room temperature. When you're making a small batch like this, it'll be cool really quickly anyway, so it takes a longer time to come to trace. So I'm going to let these sit a bit, and then we'll come back. Okay, so these are still pretty fluid. I'm not sure if you can see that, but they're starting to thicken up just a bit. So, yeah, we're still not at a trace, but I can tell that this will thicken up just fine. And the nice thing about having it this fluid is that it's easier to pour into this little tiny mold. So I'm gonna go ahead and this is a silicone mold. These are easy to find. I got this at Michael's. You can find them online. I know that Banulé has silicone molds. I haven't personally used any of theirs, but I hear they're pretty good. So you can find it there, or you can just Google it. I'm sure you'll find something on Amazon. So I'm going to go ahead and start pouring. And I don't want mine too thick because these are embeds that are going to go into the top of a cold process soap. So I'm not going to pour it the whole way full. Keep in mind though that if you're pouring something that has delicate little ends like these flamingos here, I may pour those all the way full because this skinny leg part has a tendency to break. That's why I only have 6 flamingos. So it just makes it nicer to have it a little sturdier. But these flowers seem to come out just fine, so. Okay. Starting to make a mess here. See if I can. Sorry if that was noisy. That's my dehumidifier that I have running at all times. See that I've gotten a little soap down into one of my flamingo legs. I don't think I can reach it. Okay, so I give this another stir, and then I will pour the little flamingos. Don't forget to add your sodium lactate in there. You may not need it. I just wanted to make sure that it came out nice and hard so that I didn't have any problems getting it out of the mold. So if you don't have that on hand and you still want to make your embeds, it's probably going to be fine. I would just let it maybe sit in the mold a little bit longer, just to make sure. And I leave these overnight, so they'll probably take about 24 hours or a little bit longer. Just depends on how soft they seem to be. Okay. All right. And now I'm going to go ahead and do the leaves. Give that a quick stir. Okay. Looks like just this last one. Okay. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to let these set for 24 hours, maybe a little bit longer. We'll see how they do. And they should pop right out. So I'm going to show you the recipe here. See if you can see that. I'll hold that up closer to the camera. So I have highlighted the super fat is just at 5%, and you can find this spreadsheet on soapcalc.net. Super fat is at 5%. You can play around with that a little bit if you want and lower it to 3%. It's really negligible at this small of an amount, I found, especially if you're using ounces. Grams are a little bit more accurate. So the super fat's at 5. I just used 4 ounces of coconut oil. And then you can see my lye is at a 0.7 ounce. And my lye water ratio is 2 to 1. So is at 33%. You don't really need it that, you don't need a light water content that's really high because it stays fluid for a long time anyways. So you can lower that a little bit if you want even. I found 2 to 1 works for me. And that's pretty much it. So hope this works out for you guys. Happy soaping. Bye-bye. Hi everybody, it's Gina with Euphoria Bath and Soapery. I'm back again just to give a little quick update on these cold process embeds. And I'm working on some new ones here. Let's see if you can see those. These are little pineapples I have, and I have tried the 100% coconut oil embed, which I love. Here's a little example of that. The point of having a hard embed is, of course, unmolding. So when you have silicone molds with little tiny details like these pineapple leaves, a lot of times it will break off. So you need to have a hard embed. However, if you're going to cut through those embeds, they still need to be soft enough to cut through, which is one of the things that I noticed in dealing with these. These are, I had to use a razor blade to cut, kind of pre-score these so that they cut through without damaging the soap. So I thought if you're not going to cut through them, the 100% coconut oil embed is great. They release easily. I also use a little sodium lactate in that recipe. But sodium lactate has a tendency to make things brittle. I don't care to use it unless I really have to. But if you're not going to cut through it, that's a wonderful way to go. If you do need to cut through it, I have another recipe, and that is really, really simple, and I'll leave this at the end of the video as well. So this is just half coconut oil and half unrefined shea butter without any sodium lactate. It makes it easier to cut through, and you can see that I was able to cut through this one fairly easily. Let's see. Let me find my knife. Set these aside and we'll... So they're still hard enough to release pretty well, although we did have miss a couple of leaves here. But my cutter can probably get through that no problem without causing any major drama. So a little tricky, but if you make these the day before your soap and then you put them on there, it shouldn't be a problem cutting through with a wire cutter. They seem to cut pretty well, but still release pretty well. And you can play around with the recipe and make it your own and see what works better for you. This is nice if you don't have any melt and pour soap on hand. And the other nice thing about doing cold process embeds is that you don't get any glycerin dew. You just get this beautiful embed that you can put on top and no problem. So you can have that in a humid environment and it won't cause any dew. So with these little pineapples, these are made with the shea butter and coconut oil, and I just mica painted on top of those. So once they're done and I've unmolded them, I just make a little slurry with I use 99% alcohol, but you can use 91% isopropyl alcohol and a little bit of mica, and you just paint the colors that you want on there, simple as can be, and super cute. So I just wanted to add that to the video so that you could see how easy it was to do. And that's pretty much it. I think I've covered everything. If I haven't and you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer those for you. Alrighty, well, thanks for watching. Happy soaping.